Lake Bemidji State Park has reopened many of their trails just 3 weeks after the June 21st storm. But some areas of the park will still be closed indefinitely. Our reporter Matthew Freeman spoke with State Park and DNR officials to get an understanding of how much the storm impacted the environment in the state park.
Lake Bemidji State Park has a total of 1,700 acres of forested land. Over half of it was impacted in some way by the June 21st derecho storm.
These forests in our park took the biggest damage from these large winds. The larger pines were really badly impacted. Because the winds were not totally straight line, they're pockets. And so it's taken us 3 weeks to find most of those pockets.
We do have some really good data across state and county land that likely is about 10,000 acres of heavily damaged forested land. We've been strategizing and prioritizing areas that were heaviest hit to figure out the next step forward.
Natural events like wildfires, flooding, and even heavy winds often cause many disturbances to the environment. These disturbances are generally considered a healthy thing that allows the impacted ecosystem to adapt. However, the derecho storm that swept through Beltrami County was a bit different.
This is far more than we usually see. We're having to spend quite a lot of time trying to look at where the problems are, the heavy blowdown areas are. We have probably about 100 acres of pretty badly impacted blowdown where there's just not much left standing.
State Park and DNR officials are working as fast as they can to remove any damaged trees in the area, as leaving them down can cause some drastic impacts.
The storm event happened in mid-June where the seeds hadn't put on their cones yet, so they hadn't dropped their seed source. They're also shading out and covering the ground so that the new seedlings that would come up underneath, they don't have a chance. In this area we plant most of our pine species after either a harvest or a wind event happens. So you run the risk of not having a forest in the future if we don't get in there and actively manage our forest stands.
Another cause for concern for State Park and DNR officials is potential of insect and disease outbreaks caused by the downed trees within the park, particularly the pine bark beetle.
They're in almost all of our pine forests to some extent, but when we start having issues with them is when we start getting a lot of stressed, dead or dying trees.
When trees snap off, they release some hormones that attract bugs and insects, and then they get underneath the bark, and then you run the risk of subjecting those adjacent healthy trees to those bugs.
The state park hopes to regain some of the economic value lost from the downed pine trees by establishing timber sales with local loggers so that DNR officials can focus on reforesting efforts.
We want to make sure that we're utilizing the resource effectively, but also protecting it for future generations.
It's 1,700 acres. We still have a lot of areas where we never will remove all of the blown down trees, but in areas where we can focus in and try to get the loggers to come in and remove this stuff, take it to market, that's desirable for us. It saves us dollars and time in the long run. My goal is to get these stands replanted as quickly as I can.
Reporting in Bemidji, I'm Matthew Freeman, Lakeland News.
And we will have more details on what's officially open and what will be closed off indefinitely in Lake Bemidji State Park later on this week on Lakeland News.
Lakeland News is a nonprofit news organization. Donate to Lakeland PBS today to support your local news team.